welcome back, my fellow adventurers. You're back for Chapter 11, Poop, Poop, and Double Poop, from David Walliams' A Midnight Gang. I hope you're enjoying this book as much as I do. Of course, you can pick up your own copy up there, and, you might even find some other choices that you can continue the adventure on your own. All right, guys, let's get started with Chapter 11, Poop, Poop, and Double Poop. What do you mean, don't tell him it's called the Midnight Gang? Demanded Amber. The girl rolled her eyes, and Robin sighed. Cool name. I love it. Now please let me join, said Tom. No, said George. N-O spells no. Then explain to me why I can't, protested Tom. The boy desperately wanted to be part of the Midnight Gang, even though he didn't actually have a clue what the Midnight Gang did, because it was secret. What could be more exciting than a gang that was secret? It didn't matter what this secret gang did. All that mattered is that it was a secret. Not just secret, but top secret. Silence greeted Tom's question, as the three were stumped for an answer. Because it's a secret gang, replied Amber finally, and it's been secret for years. But I already know about it, said Tom. It's you three, and it's called the Midnight Gang. Poop, poop, double poop, and triple poop with an extra scoop of poop on top of poop sauce, said Robin. He's got us, added George. Tom smiled smugly to himself. No, he hasn't, said Robin. This gang is so much more than that. It's as old as the hospital. What do you mean? Asked Tom. It was started 50 years ago, maybe more, replied the girl. By who? Asked Tom. I can't tell you, said Amber. Spoil sport, replied Tom. Amber can't tell you as she doesn't actually know, remarked George. Thank you for that, George, said Amber sarcastically. No problem, replied George, not detecting the sarcasm. Nobody knows who started the Midnight Gang, said Robin. All we know is that it was a child in the hospital, and it's been passed down by the patients ever since. The Midnight Gang was here. So why can't I join? Said Tom. Because not just anybody can join, said Amber. The Midnight Gang can only survive if it's secret. If someone squealed, it would ruin it for everybody. We don't know if we can trust you yet. You can, I swear, pleaded Tom. All right, Tom, listen, sighed Amber. You can come with us, but just for tonight. It doesn't mean you are a member of the Midnight Gang. We'll see how you get on. Tonight is strictly a trial period. If you pass the test, then you are in. Do you understand? Yes, replied Tom. Yes, I do. Now, come on, Midnight Gang, let's have an adventure. Follow me. With that, the boy marched down off the corridor. The other three remained on the spot, shaking their heads. Excuse me, said Robin. What? Replied Tom, turning back. You don't know where you are going. Oh, yes, sorry. Oh, dear. The trial period has already got off to a bad start, said Amber. As she was unable to move her arms, she nodded the direction with her head. This way, gang. Follow me. Chapter 12. Following the Leader. As Amber's arms and legs were in plaster, she was pretty helpless. If she hadn't fallen out of her wheelchair, the girl would have struggled to get up. Most likely, she would lie on her back with her arms and legs in the air, like an upside-down beetle. However, by sheer force of will, Amber was very much the leader of the Midnight Gang. Down in the hospital basement, she barked orders to George, Robin, and the newest member of the gang, Tom. Straight ahead! Turn right! Right again! Left again! At the end of the corridor! George had been made to take over pushing Amber's wheelchair after Robin had bashed the girl into too many walls. They were suspicious that Robin had done it on purpose to get out of pushing. Now George was covered in sweat and panting like a dog. Pushing the wheelchair was hard work because it had a flat tire. Do you want to go, Tom? Spluttered George as he tried to push the old rusty contraption in a straight line. No, thank you. It's really fun pushing the wheelchair, ain't it, Robin? Said George. Oh, yes, George, it's an absolute treat, said Robin, not entirely convincingly. Look, Tom, began George, if you are serious about joining our gang and want this trial period to be a success, then you really need to push Amber's wheelchair, at least for a bit. Tom sighed. The boy knew he was being tricked into doing it and could do nothing about it. All right, I'll do it. Yes, exclaimed George, punching the air in celebration. You boys should be fighting for the honor of pushing your leader around, remarked Amber. Who said you were the leader? Asked Robin. I did, replied Amber. Now come on, Tom, let's get going. Reluctantly, the boy took the handles and began pushing the wheelchair. Amber was heavier than he had thought, and it was a struggle to get going. Faster, faster, she ordered. Where are we going? Asked Tom. Tom, as I said a few moments ago, you are on a trial period in this gang, said Amber. Our destination is on a strict need-to-know basis, and you do not need to know. Right turn. Dutifully, Tom pushed the wheelchair right and then wheeled Amber to what was in fact a dead end. Stop! Said Amber. You've taken me the wrong way. I did exactly as I was told, miss, replied Tom. I mean, Amber. No, miss is fine, said the girl. I need to take a break for a moment, announced Tom as he sat down on the floor. The other two boys did the same. Before we go any further, I need you to explain something to me. What? Demanded Amber. The girl was not best pleased. It was clear she wasn't going to be pushed another millimeter unless she gave the boy some proper answers. I still don't understand why this child started the secret gang in the first place all those years ago. You don't normally get to know all the secrets of the Midnight Gang until you're a full member, replied the girl. Please tell him, Amber, moaned George. I can't push any more. I got a stitch. The girl harumphed at the pathetic boys. Legend has it that this one particular child was stuck in Lord Fund Hospital for years and years, began Amber. Why? Asked Tom. I suppose they had something very seriously wrong, replied Amber. Something more serious than a stitch. She shot a look over at George before continuing. This child was bored. Being ill is boring. Being in the hospital is boring. They longed for excitement, so one night at midnight, so the story goes, they had this brilliant idea to create a secret gang for them and all the other children on the ward. But what did this secret gang do? Asked Tom. I'm coming to that, replied Amber. If you would please just let me get a word in edgewise. In the darkness of the basement, Tom could just make out George rolling his eyes at him. Amber was certainly a strong character. No doubt she had put Robin and George in their place many times since they had been admitted to the hospital. This one patient thought, why should all the children on the outside have all the fun when they and the other kids couldn't even leave the hospital? Why don't all the kids in the children's ward work together to make one of their dreams come true, starting every night at midnight? Why midnight? Because the grown-ups would not approve This child knew that they would do everything in their power to stop the gang if they found out about it. So it had to swing into action only after the grown-ups had all gone to bed. Then over time, as the children left the ward, when they recovered from their injuries or illnesses, new children would come. And if the Midnight Gang members thought a new patient could be trusted, really trusted, if they were 100% sure they wouldn't tell the doctors or nurses or their parents or teachers or even their friends outside the hospital, then, and only then, would they be invited to join. Do you think you would have invited me to join? Asked Tom. Probably not, replied Amber curtly. Why not? Demanded the boy, more than a little hurt. To be honest, you seem a bit of a weed. A weed? Yes, a weed, Gosh, all that fuss just because you were hit on the head by a tennis ball? It was a cricket ball, protested Tom. Same thing, remarked George. No, it's not, exclaimed Tom. A cricket ball is much, much heavier. Yes, of course it is, replied Amber sarcastically. I imagine they are so heavy a wimp like you would struggle to pick one up. The other two boys chuckled as Tom sulked. He knew he was not an Olympic athlete in the making, but he never realized people might think he was a wimp. Come on, Tom, don't sulk, said Amber. I suppose the Midnight Gang is nothing more than an idea, really, mused Robin. One that's passed on from child to child. Like knits? Asked George unhelpfully. Yes, George, like knits, George, exclaimed Robin. You really are a genius. The Midnight Gang is exactly like knits, but without the scratchy heads, special shampoo, egg-removing combs, and, of course, the knits themselves. All right, replied George.
We can't all be the Brian of Britain.
I mean, brain of Britain. If the Midnight Gang isn't passed on, then one day it will die out, continued Amber. We must all remember, even the leader herself, that this is not something that can be done on your own. Especially if you need someone to push you around in a wheelchair, remarked Robin. The Midnight Gang can only succeed if all the members work together, said Amber. But to do what? Asked Tom. This is best bit, whispered Amber, to bring one of the children's dreams to life. And next, we'll find out in chapter 13, Thunk, how they make those wishes come true. Hope you're enjoying this as much as me. Remember to click up there to keep that adventure going and find another adventure. And we'll see you next time for chapter 13.